Tri-City Sports Now. I'm Marky Bilson. Whenever we have those extended, bumper music breaks or something, I'll tell you what, that we're trying to get all the equipment in here working, especially our Facebook Live. So if you are listening in and you hear a little bit of bumper music and all that, or if you couldn't listen to the show, you can always find it on our 1420 WEMB Sports Radio Tri-Cities Facebook page, where it is archived under the video section. I've got most of the, didn't slug yesterday's, but, if you go, you can hear my commentaries, that sort of thing. You want to hear the commentaries? You want to read them? Got almost all of them up on Medium. Medium.com, follow me there. Follow my own personal Facebook page. Follow my Twitter. You can see me arguing with some idiot ETSU fans who don't, this sort of thing. So you've got a whole lot of opportunities here. I want to throw out here, starting a little bit with Caleb Calhoun, dichotomy, football and basketball gaps. In other words, at one time I think you might have said Auburn. Not anymore, but I think you would have, that there's a huge dichotomy between football and basketball. And at one time you would have said Tennessee. Not anymore. I'm trying to think of, really just all into football schools that really couldn't care that much about basketball, and that you just do not think of when it comes to hoops. And some of these will be a bit historical. The one that we said Penn State, Tennessee historically, okay, and the other way around it would probably be Kentucky, but even a little less than that because Kentucky is in the SEC. Kentucky will go to a bowl game, this sort of thing. I mean, I beat Penn State this past year, in a bowl game on New Year's Day. I think more so looking at schools like Georgetown, Villanova, Big East schools certainly had that huge dichotomy if they played football. Atlantic 10 schools did. And even to this day, I mean, UMass has got to be, I still think of them as hoops. And it's where Julius Irving went to. That's where Marcus Camby played, that sort of thing. But here are some schools that Texas A&M, never really think of Texas A&M in football, do you? Or basketball. You always think of them in football. I mean, basketball, not really. Nebraska. What did you ever think of? Yes, Nebraska, they have a good team. Maybe you remember, I think it made the NCAA like 8 or 9 times, but, when have you really said, yes, Nebraska, I remember when Danny Nee had some success there as the coach at Nebraska, but what is him? That's a long time ago. I can't think of anything memorable about Nebraska basketball. Southern California. Now, under Andy Enfield, when he went there, they started to win a little bit. And I can remember them being nationally ranked under George Raveling. But, yeah, that's a big dichotomy right there. Southern California is football. UCLA is basketball. But the dichotomy between, say, UCLA football and basketball is nowhere near. UCLA football, you think, hey, that's pretty good. They're playing on a ball schedule again this year. University of Southern California basketball, that's an afterthought. And I went to junior high with their coach. So, the last one I was writing down, I was trying to keep it to the major programs. Northwestern. Admittedly, Northwestern has been thought of for bad football for quite a long time. That's what happens when you have 24 straight losing seasons from 72 to 94. Yeah, it was 23 or 24 losing seasons. I think it was 7-4 in 71. Don't ask me how I know that. And then they went to the Rose Bowl in 95, and since then they've been a respectable football program. But Northwestern, they're known historically for losing. But they are kind of known for, some innovations. They did have some decent football back in the day. ranked number 1 in 62. They first team to wear plastic helmets. Otto Graham went there. Rose Bowl in 49. I mean, they had some things going for them. Irv Cross and Fred Williamson were once in the same defensive backfield. So think about that. Giving you the history of Northwestern Wildcats football. I'm going to stop with that. I'm trying to sort of, see what I know? Yeah, that's sort of the whole deal here right now. But I was trying to think of some programs with that big dichotomy between between football and basketball. And basketball and football, like I said, Big East schools would be there. Kentucky to a certain extent, certainly Indiana. If we want to go, big-time schools, you say Kansas, obviously that's going to be basketball number 1, and, that's where it's going to be king. Regardless. Unfortunately, I just was told that Joe Rexford will not be able to make the show. Something came up. He was traveling from Dallas. We'll try to reschedule, hopefully for tomorrow or so. So that means that I've got a full boat that I've got to fill up here on Tri-City Sports Now. Began the show talking about Mladen Armus, and if you missed it, you can read my commentary on it on Medium, medium.com. Now, there is one big thing. I think that Armus and Rodriguez's departure from ETSU, my main point was, a week ago it looked like ETSU was, I thought they could contend again for a national ranking in 1920. I love saying it that way, 1920. 2019-20. If that, so. What? You think that the 1920, what, is the lively ball coming in? It's a shame what happened to Ray Chapman. This. Anyway, but what we have here is now I think the program, it could still win the Southern Conference, but it's now going to be quite the struggle when they were previously head and shoulders above everybody else. And then they were, now those ideas of national rankings, those ideas of possibly an at-large berth to the NCAAs, I think they're gone. Yeah. The talk of being more than just the best team in a SoCon. Could still possibly be that. UNCG will be stocked down. Furman returns 4 players. Wofford, Fletcher McGee leaves. Cam Jackson, a lot of good outside shooters return. The one difference, though, with Mladen Armus is that he's entered into officially the transfer portal, but the release given by Steve Forbes seems to indicate he's gone. With Bubba Parham at VMI, who said on this show that he was going to return to VMI and complete his career, that he goes into transfer portal, but Dan Earl has actually said, it's not 100%. I want to bring him back. Now, whether that means that on every single possession he gets the ball or something, and that's how they keep him a Keydette, I don't know. Of course, I've said this before, Parham, and it always seems like VMI has that one, great scorer and then nothing else. And then he goes 6-20 whatever, and, but there was that one game where the guy scored 43 and, beat a good team or something. There was always that. Anyway, I actually do think that, Parham possibly could have a, bring a winning record to VMI. Maybe that could be something to bring him in. He's still a little undersized, so he might just find out that there aren't that many schools that say, yes, we want the Southern Conference's leading scorer. Nah, what am I talking about? Guys have transferred up from VMI to Missouri, for crying out loud. And frankly, transferring up from VMI is basically transferring anywhere this side of Chicago State. ETS, you got 3 victories against the likes of Chicago State and VMI last year. I don't know. Could a 24-victory team have been a bit overrated? But yeah, it's going to be up to now Steve Forbes to bring in quality players. Now, one quality player might bring in all of a sudden with the scholarships now available is Zach Irvin. Zach Irvin has listed his Final Four. Who will be, where will he go play basketball? ETSU is listed among them. Among fellow SoCon mates, Wofford, where he initially intended to go, and we had Jay McCauley on yesterday. You can hear the interview archived on our 1420 WEMB Facebook page video section. And McCauley sounded like a guy who could keep a guy in the fold, to tell you the truth. I was very impressed with him. But if Irvin decides to stay closer to home, there's ETSU, closest school to Gate City. There's Appalachian State. There's the aforementioned Wofford Terriers. There's Elon. And there are the Furman Paladins. So we know that Irvin will go, if he elects to go to the SoCon, to a contender next year. But will he get playing time? That's the question. But yes, Irvin has tweeted out his top 5 choices. They're Elon, Appalachian State, ETSU, Wofford, and Furman. I was a bit surprised that Duquesne, which was in the A10, of course I'm from Pittsburgh, so I've got that bias. My apologies, but I did think, hey, they were the A10 school. That was the biggest conference that wanted him, and you know, the A10 and the Big East these days, there's not that much difference between them. What with Mac McClung going to Georgetown Catholic School, I thought, maybe, but it is not to happen. Unless Irvin changes his mind again. I'm Marky Bilson. Joe Rexrod will not be with us in the next period, but I will be talking a little baseball. Tri-Cities Sports Now coming back after this.